I know they're always one of those.
Oh, excuse me.
You need like, just have like an espresso.
Oh man, me coffee right now, I won't sleep.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I can have coffee once in the morning, but anytime after that, forget about it, I won't sleep.
We switch on over to gummies, like 5, 6 o'clock at night.
Oh, nighttime gummies or something like that?
Yeah, like high CBD. Like not a whole lot of THC, just the CBD stuff.
Sure.
It's just like,
I think my brother just takes something like that.
Yeah. No, because I'm like, yeah, sure, I'm gonna go do that. And someone said, no, really, it makes a big difference, and it's not psychoactive if you do it right. I was right. So,
I just smoke.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Whatever.
I don't smoke.
No, I just got back from California, and it's like, you know, everywhere you turn, it's like, it's so out in the open.
Sure.
It's like crazy.
Sure.
But it's like, all right. Yeah. You know, you're sitting there at a bus stop, and there's like a big thing of like this big giant, hey, come and get whatever.
Sure.
It's everywhere.
Yeah, when I was over in Los Angeles and walking along, was it Santa Monica?
Yeah.
And then there's like in all the stores and stuff like that, and there's like a bunch of like CBD and like edible stuff and all that.
Oh yeah. Alright, so do you want me to get the long leash or?
Yeah, do you guys have one?
Yeah. I didn't pick it out, so. Like Emily's like, get something that won't get lost in the snow. Nice bright color. We're actually using a different lead for our interest. Hey, no, there's treats in there. I saw what you were doing, I believe. Alright. So, let's see, which one is which. This goes with me, and this goes with you. Here, muchacha, come here. Hey, over here. Oh. And I want to put this on her.
On her flat collar?
Oh, she has a flat collar on. You want me to put it on? She's got the muzzle and she's got her e-collar.
Yeah, you don't want to cut to the e-collar.
No, I never do
that gray one.
But this is her muzzle.
Yeah, there's a ring on there, isn't there?
No, yeah. I just want to make sure that.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I thought you were talking about
I always say the e-collar is like her, you know, what she wears. It's got all her tags and stuff on it. So.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
So let's.
Go and hand me green leash, please.
Yes.
I'll hold it for you.
Are you gonna walk this out, or are you gonna?
You're at what right now?
We are at 23.
Behave yourself. I will move a little bit more so you have some more space to move backwards.
Okay.
So you don't hit that ledge.
Okay.
I thought you were gonna call her.
Yeah,
were you just doing the taps?
Yeah, I was. Penny, come.
Good. Yeah, that's on your face. That's good. Over the back tap. A couple more?
Yeah.
It's pretty simple. When you call Penny, once she arrives, right, and if you were to move, what do you think she should do?
Well, like, let's say I'm walking backwards, or give me an example.
So like you call Penny, right?
Yeah.
She arrives, she's sitting at your side. Like, let's say you decide to like do this. What do you think she should do?
I think she should accompany me.
Correct. She should follow you. Okay. Yeah. So like right now, you called her and you stepped away. Technically, she should be following you.
Yeah.
But we've not really pressed that. So that's the second part that we're gonna do here.
Yeah.
So I call this a side step exercise. Everything remains the same. Penny come, backwards, tap, all the same. Once she arrives, we wait for her to sit, or we give that tap to create that auto sit. Once she does, you're gonna either move backwards or to the side, not forwards or forward leg, okay? So if Penny lands at your left, you can go, for instance, to your right like this. You can go straight back like this. If she were to land in front of you or to the right of you, you can go to the left or backwards. But we wouldn't want to move forwards. Or if you do move left or right, we move like this and not like this. Okay, so the reason why we don't want to move forward or forward like is because it looks like heel. So Penny should be doing this by default. There's no separate command for it. It's Penny come, she arrives, and if you decided to move, she should just automatically follow you. Okay. The reason why I do this is to kind of just cement in the brain, once I call you, you're supposed to stick to me. Because sometimes when people call their dogs, the dogs will come and then wait a second or so, then they'll prematurely run away to go like play with a squirrel or chase a dog or something. So this helps fix that problem. The other reason is because when you do the side step, if you tap her, you might confuse her, or she'll start to run off. And I do this to proof the command, because the tap should never mean to run away. Tap should always mean, if anything, to come to me. Okay? Right. So by doing this exercise, we're essentially forcing confusion or forcing her to make mistakes, so that we can proof that, so we're not worried about if we ever call her and she's not going to perceive the tap as meaning to run away. Okay? Okay? Questions?
Nope. So the first, and I'm sure I'm just really setting myself up. So what's the first thing I do? Penny.
So we'll go to reset. I'll take leash. We'll do a recall, and then from there, is that Emily?
My glasses on, so.
I'll take leash, and then we'll have you do the recall, and I'll coach you through the rest. Okay? Sounds good. All right.
Hey, what do you think you're up to?
It's like,
this sucks. I hate this. Dungeon. You like him. He's a good guy. She sometimes tries to catch that carabiner.
oh yeah. Forward. Good.
Penny, come. Penny.
Good. So you're going up there. That's good. Now once you arrive, you just tap to get that auto sit.
Yes.
Tap. There you go. Now here, you take 2 steps to your immediate right. Right, good. Let her settle. Now take 2 steps backwards. Good. Tap. Wait a moment. Good. And try 1 big step to your left. Tap. The distraction here. Turn and face Penny and move backwards. Yep, now start tapping. Keep tapping. Really release a little bit. Tap. Here within. Yep, keep tapping.
That is going to be a tough sound.
Got it. There you go. Good. Alright. Good. And hold right there. Yep. Good. So here, we use that as a distraction. Even though Emily showed up, you had just called her, she should have not left your side. Okay? So right off the bat, as soon as she left, I go into correction mode. I go to face her. Up, tap, backwards. Tap, backwards. There we go. Good.
Ball is something like that.
Until she's told to release or break, her job is to hold that position. Okay?
Yep.
Now you can release her.
Go ahead.
I'm glad I could be the distraction. Sit.
So what we just started doing right now is we did a real quick warm-up to see how the recall looks. And then we're adding the second, is that drill? Yeah. The second part of the recall. So there's the come to me aspect, right? And what we're doing here is once we call Penny to us, and she arrives, you know, if you were to move again, what should Penny do?
Come to you, right?
Correct, she should follow you.
Yeah.
So that's what we were adding in right now.
Okay.
And then you showed up and then she ran off. So then he corrected her and got her back. Okay?
Yeah, I didn't know if I should walk up
No, it
or
was good.
whatever.
Yeah, it was good.
Can I ask a quick question before I forget? It's snarky already. So when I was out working in the yard, I had her on a long leash, and she was hooked up to something. She wasn't hooked up to me. And I'd let her kind of wander around, and then I'd be like, Penny. And I'd like kind of zap her, and she'd come over and sit by me. And then I'd be walking around doing stuff, and she'd kind of follow around me, and I'd be like, Penny. As soon as, like, I just got her used to me saying, and I don't want to screw anything up, because also I'm like, maybe I'm screwing something up.
Oh, because you're saying like Penny has like it's like kind of like a recall.
Yeah, just to get her attention, not, I was just saying Penny, and then it was just the idea that while we're in the yard, I should be able to just say her name, and she should look at me without.
Yeah, so the way I would see that is like a Penny is like a hey, like we're over here type of general idea, whereas you know Penny come is a get all the way right here.
Yeah, I just didn't want, and then all of a sudden I'm like, maybe I'm screwing something up that we're working on.
No, I mean most of the time people use the name as a formal recall, as is. As long as you aren't doing Penny, and then she was coming to you like a normal recall, and instead of releasing her, you just like let her wander.
Yeah.
That would make things because common call is here and don't leave until I tell you to break.
I was using it more just Penny. I kind of use Penny as just look at me.
Sure.
Calm is always calm.
Right.
But if I say, hey Penny, I just want her to turn around and look at me.
Correct. Yeah. That's
Okay.
yeah. As long as they're not like the same command, and then one of them's a little bit more like loose.
Yeah.
Then that's a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, excuse me.
Whatever he wants me to do.
So we'll do just do the first one. We'll do 4 with you, and then we'll swap handlers, and then I'll have you do the exercise as well.
Okay.
Okay?
What we were doing last time?
Yes, but now we're adding the second part.
So if we could kindly take her all the way back to the
Oh, you want me to take her there?
towards that garage.
I know.
Penny.
Hold right there. Good. Now try to your right. Good. So wait a moment, let her settle. Good. Try backwards. Yes. Right. Good. And praise. And a girl. Now here, because you said Penny, and you want to do the Penny count. But you called her, right?
Oh.
But you only said Penny.
Okay.
So you want to say Penny count so that we distinguish that from her Penny.
My Penny is more just attention.
Yeah, now tap, yep, tap.
Oh, no, you don't want
You're good, tap, that was a good move. Yep, there we go, good. And that was correct, we would not call her again. You just correct the behavior of prematurely breaking, okay?
Yeah,
That's right.
Get her.
Wait a minute,
2 more times, then we go swap the leash.
And then here, when you pick up the leash, make sure that you release Penny so that she can actively walk away.
So what is the command?
Break.
Huh? Break. Okay. Break.
There we go. So break means now you're free. So, because if Emily just came and took her with no like divisive word, then things get a little confusing. So break means now you're free from what you're doing.
Good. Ready? Come.
Good. Good. Try any direction.
Break.
Well, I freak kind of with the stuff. But I like that.
You just want to be an A student, right? I can see in your eyes. It's like she wants to do well. Break.
Good. Just a couple more.
You know when I want to go to agility?
Yeah, there's somebody in the.
Water should be a good agility dog. Ross is a border dog.
Yeah. Or fly ball.
She's a great high school. Come.
There you go. Good. Yep. Good. Good.
Come.
There we go. Back tap. There she goes. Good. 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 There you go. And go and praise. Good. One more. Then we'll swap.
Swap. You get your favorite person. That was only a diamond.
Yeah. That's good. Good practice.
Break.
No, this is so fun. This is fun.
Come. Come.
These to your right. And then right back. There you go. Now back tap. Back tap. Back tap. Back tap. There you go. Good. Back tap tap. Good. And what's your number now, Ed?
32.
Good. 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 So no words she's supposed to follow.
Yeah.
This is all defense.
The
So
only word I should use is on
correct. At one time.
And then this is all.
Correct. So that's what creates that implied state. Now when we're doing these movements, any direction but forward light.
Okay.
Okay, because if Penny lands at your side and you move straight like this, it looks like heel.
Yeah.
Or if if you go left, we do side steps as opposed to turning left.
Okay.
Because that also looks like heel.
Okay.
Okay. So very awkward movements, straight back or straight to the left, straight to the right. You can even angle it out
Okay.
because she can't heel in those directions.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're going to go ahead and repeat that exercise, but I'm going to have you do it now. And then Ed will take the green leash. You will do
He is colorblind.
No, I'm not.
Not linked blind, though.
Colorblind like that. Yeah, that sucks.
Great.
Well, look at the male.
Penny, come.
Good. And back. 1, 2, 3. That's good. Good. Right. Tap.
Are you checking on it?
Tap.
Tap,
Tap. Yep. Go ahead and bump a little bit. Tap. Now here, move backwards. Yep. Tap. 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 Reel in a little bit of your leash. Yep. Good. Hold right there. Good. Let her settle. Good. And try again. Good. Good. And praise.
Good job.
So
So I
earlier-
didn't tap her at all when I was moving side to side.
Yeah, because she was moving with you?
Yeah.
That's correct.
I
So-
did that.
So right there when she got confused and she like locked up and didn't move, and then when you tapped her, it pushed her away from you. That's also why we do this, because this is proofing the command. Tap should never mean run away.
Yeah.
It always should mean
So do you think she's just confused because before when I was tapping I was supposed to go to me, and now I'm tapping.
correct. Yeah. But so yes, that's correct. Because Ed just did 5.
Yeah.
So she's thinking, do I go to Dad or do I go to Mom, right? But so this is also teaching her to listen to who's calling her,
Okay.
right? Because it's your voice now.
So should I, if I'm moving to the side and I'm happy, should I say come or no? Just
No.
happy?
Once you've issued it the original come command, everything is by default.
Okay.
Okay.
So now I'm at 39.
Are you ready?
Good. And break.
Break.
Good. We'll do 4 more.
Break.
Break. So when we break, should we say come on?
What do you mean?
Because she wouldn't go when I said break. So should I?
Oh, I would just, once you say break, if she doesn't move, just hug.
Okay, that's what we do. Penny, come.
Good. 1, 2, 3. There. Settle. Good. Yep. Right. So right there. Good. Tap. Tap. Good. And brakes.
Good job.
Oh,
So
yes,
I only
no.
tapped the one time when she wouldn't follow me.
Sorry. You get the tap?
I
Yeah, yeah.
only tapped the one time.
But she came straight to you. Yes, that's correct.
So
Good.
good job.
Great. 3 more.
What are you looking at? This is no longer fun. I'm gonna go this way because you don't want to watch.
Yeah, because you keep getting stuck by the
Oh my
bench.
God, I can only go this way.
Yeah, that's fine.
I did give her another haircut, and she only finished it. Well, she had a mobile on going to watch because I knew her a little bit.
Oh.
She kind of lays down and lets me. But then she realized, oh, it's what we're doing.
Sure.
She just lays down and lets me.
You do it with the shaver or what?
Yeah. I'm trying to do something like that here once a week, brushing the nails.
Just get used to it.
Just getting used to it.
You can, when you do that, especially if it's both of you, as one is like doing the trimming, the other can just like give high value stuff or something at the very end.
I think it's just we're getting used to like, oh, this is what I'm gonna do.
Right,
Then
right.
I guess I'll just lay here.
Yeah, good.
Penny, come.
Girl. Good.
Try doing some side stepping instead of just normal walking. You know what I mean? Like when you go to the side, like this. Because what you want to change your body orientation of her. You want to keep it consistent.
There you go. Good.
Good job. Good job. I didn't tap her at all.
I got a new job working weekends at Canine Connection.
But you're going to be good.
Good job.
That's all I need.
You did 2 more? It's okay. That's actually a place though.
Canine Connection.
Hey, it's the Canine Connection.
No, wait, what was that? The education. Oh my God, that song.
So cut, hey, whatever.
I've not heard it.
It's pretty as well.
I don't watch much TV. Canine Connection is the place in Buffalo,
Buffalo.
New York.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Penny, come.
Good. Very good.
Good job.
Good.
Good dog.
Now here we tap, tap, tap. Right. So go ahead and praise her again.
Would you? Good job.
So when you, tap. There you go. Praise
So
again.
even when I'm praising her, have her say.
Because unless you release her,
Okay.
she's supposed to maintain that position.
Okay.
Unless you're moving or unless you've released her.
Okay.
Okay. So it's super strict. We're gonna do 1 more.
Okay. It's like drool all over.
Deer line.
Break.
Come on, Julie Deer. Let's go.
Oh, sorry. God, that's seriously drool.
Young lady. Custody dog. Custody dog.
Penny, come.
Good.
Should I get her closer?
Yeah. Try one step back tap. There you go. Much better. Good. Good. Look, there you go. Good job. Good job. Very good. Excellent. So now, when you practice with her, you can throw this in, you know, every now and then. You don't have to worry about drilling it every single time you do the recall. But the more you do, especially in different environments, the more you do it, the more likely you're going to see her make mistakes and stuff, which is another big reason that we do this. So like when she took off earlier, like I want to see that now because you still have the long leash on. We get as much of that out, you know, out of her head as possible. So this way, if she's off leash and you remote her, her first response should always just be to return.
I need to find a safe place to remote her. That way, she doesn't return if that's next right.
Oh, sure. I'm not sure how it's over by you guys, but like here in the wintertime, a lot of my clients use tennis courts.
Oh,
Nobody
that's a
can't
good
play
idea.
tennis.
North Barrington. You can go up to those tennis courts.
Yeah, you can let the dog off leash and then practice. But otherwise, if there's like a park, at least right now, because you have the long leash on, you know.
I mean, I feel okay with this, Anna.
Yeah.
Even if I let go, I can just step on it if
Correct.
it just takes off and this is not doing anything.
Sure.
Although it should if I dial it
Yes.
up.
So, it's happened a few times with clients, like something happens, their dog takes off, either they're scared of something, whatever. Almost always, it's 127. Okay, 127, and then start tapping. And actually, before I forget, what I do recommend actually is, as you know, do some more practice of this, okay? And then maybe in a month or so, you go out with Penny, I don't know, the Forest Preserve or whatever, she's on the long leash, and I will let her be a dog, and then I will max that out, okay? And then I let her be super distracted, with no word of come, no recall command, nothing like that. I just pop like 3 times, tap, tap, tap on 127 to see what are you gonna do, okay? Because in an emergency situation, it's gonna. I'm telling you right now, it's gonna be 127. Okay?
Yeah, it's almost like I want to try it out because I don't want to like do it in crisis. I want to know that it's
Right. So one of 2 things. 127, she panics, runs away, she's on the leash, and then you have to use 127 to make a return. Okay, so then I just keep tapping like you do here. Everything stays the same except now she's 127.
and we don't yell anything.
No. And then, or it's 127 and all of a sudden she just jumps and yips and went straight to you. Then you go, okay, cool. Like in case of an emergency.
If you do 127 and she just kind of stops and doesn't go anywhere, just keep doing it.
Cool. Yeah, because the brain's just locking up, so you can. That's why I say still do it on the long leash.
Yeah.
So that if the dog runs away or gets stuck, you have that leash to pull her towards you, and you keep tapping. I don't say anything because in emergency situations, like you're thinking about this, you're thinking about Penny, and like there's so much stuff going on that and it doesn't even matter. Like it's going to be the 127 that's going to make the return. Okay, and that's why I said I don't. It's not obligatory. Obligation. That's easy to say. It's not an obligation, but I do recommend people do it because it just prepares you for that scenario. Because the other thing is, it's not just Penny and like the discomfort, but you emotionally, it's gonna suck. You know, so like people get over it. They're like, all right, well, I'm going into this. I know it's gonna suck. I'm gonna feel bad, but I'm proofing.
Well, I've accidentally hit that one.
The continuous.
She yelps.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
Yep, and I've had people 127 continuous their dogs, you know, like to get them to return. Because like, let's say someone sets up a firework. That's the most common thing, is a random firework at the park when you're not expecting it, and then the dogs take off. And then it's essentially you're making them more scared of running away from you than they are running away from the big loud band. Okay, so that's the logic behind it. But more time of practice, So that this way, when you do get to that point, if you decide to do it, since she's been drilled so much, when she feels it, it should just be the return, okay? And I don't do any word of comm or anything because I want to make sure that with that alone, she will know to just go to you. So like I had a client, the park was like probably as big as this, and like where the tennis court was this huge hill, and the dogs went running, and all the dogs went behind the hill, and they're like, oh, like the dogs always come out within a few seconds, and then like a minute went by, and none of the dogs came out. So then they're like, and I was like, hit the button, you know, and they hit the button, and within 2 seconds, the dogs came running around
We're all
the corner.
smoking behind the hill, man.
Yeah.
Busted.
The one dog came running around the corner. So even though the dog, they didn't say come or anything, he felt the tap and he knew like, oh, I'm supposed to return, and came
And I
around.
gotta walk around so they can see me, like walk backwards as I.
Once he came out, once he came out. But essentially, even though he couldn't see them from behind the hill, when the dog felt the tap, the assumption is I need to return because of the setting. So.
I have another question about tapping. Because this has a pretty long range.
1 mile.
So, like, if she's outside, the EPS light comes.
Yeah, you can tap from inside.
I tap her.
Oh, yeah.
Is that okay for me to do that? I just tap and she stops.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
If you always have to tap though, then that tells me you're too low.
No, it's. We don't have a lot. It's COVID. Nobody's coming to our house. That's the problem. But if so, like if UPS or FedEx or Amazon or whoever, it used to be. I guess it's gone from a hysterical bark to more of a normal dog bark. And she'll bark a couple times and try to be done.
Sure.
She still once in a while. If it's the hysterical bark, I tap her a couple times and she stops.
Okay.
And then she goes right to the door and sits at the door because she's like, I don't know where to go, so I sit at the door.
Sure.
And they never come near her. This is by the back door.
Sure. You're just taming her down.
Yeah, I'm not worried about their safety. They don't come near.
Right.
It's kind of like I like for people, but
Security. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, that's fine.
okay.
Yeah, it's a 1 mile range, fully waterproof, both your transmitter and your receiver. You're not going to get a full mile like if you're like in the city of Chicago because there's buildings. But for the average family pet, like it's plenty of range.
Yeah.
Okay. Other questions?
So she's got a muzzle on. So I know when the stranger danger comes by and goes, hey, she's not really like me.
Sure.
So when we're out in public with her, is it just a best practice to keep this thing on her no matter what?
Or
Like out in a social situation?
Or be aware, you know?
Yeah, but sometimes people just go without asking, of course.
Oh, yeah,
Not
yeah.
everyone knows dog etiquette. They go, hey, pretty dog, and they don't know what
Because she's pretty cute. Looks like a happy dog.
No, I had a client that they were in the South Loop and they were sitting at a corner of a red light, waiting for the light to turn green, right? And then someone just came from behind and pet their dog from behind. Dog came around and bit him.
Yeah.
And then they started going off on the owner, and the owner's like, "What the fuck? You didn't ask for permission." And I would have told you, like, no, right? Like you just snuck up on my dog, right? And then they of course went to me. I'm like, look, because the dog had issues.
Yeah.
And we worked through all that stuff, right? And I was like, it's like if, as a human, if someone just came up and started touching you, you know what I'm saying? Like,
what if
we
they
don't
came up
bite
from
each other.
behind you?
Yeah, exactly. Especially, right? Like,
You'd be like,
it's very threatening. And in this case, it wasn't a friendly dog. It was a dog that did have issues. But it went from lunging and barking and going after people to like, all right, I'm here, I'm chill, I'm passive, I don't have to worry about people, whatever.
Somebody does that.
Yeah, but then that happens. It's unfortunate, but at the same time, like, that's just dumb on that person.
We're fine. Like, if we're walking a forest preserve, anytime somebody's coming close to us, we just watch how they're walking towards us, and if they say, "Oh,
Their
what a pretty
energy,
dog," we
sure.
go, "We're training. Thank you so much." And so we don't walk with the muzzle. But I mean, if we were in a city where it was more crowded like this, and the sidewalks are narrower and you're closer to contact,
Sure.
definitely keep a muzzle on the road.
Yeah. So, like, if you're walking out with her, like, let's say you're walking through the neighborhood and she stands muzzle, right? That's where I walk with no headphones on, and I have really good awareness from like walking dogs for so many years. Is I can hear like runners, like the padding of their feet. I can hear a bike. I can hear dog tags. I can hear dogs behind fences. I can see a squirrel from a block away, block and a half away. Whereas this is stuff that we're usually just desensitized to. But when you have a dog like Penny, it's just an awareness. You know, so if you hear like a fast patter coming from behind you, and I take a look, and it's like little kids running because you have a cute, fluffy dog, right away you can already step in like, oh no, like you can't pet this dog, right? Otherwise, the other thing is just, I think it's handy just to have it on you. You know, if you're not going to put it on her, it's nice to just have that as an option should something arise where it's like, oh, I have to muzzle Penny.
I mean, I will say, in her walking, it surprises me. She doesn't freak out about runners. She doesn't freak out about, rarely like dogs, like when we pass dogs, nothing, like none of that freaks her out.
Good.
I'm still trying to figure out what freaks her out. That's the problem. If it was consistently freaks her out, it'd be easier, but you know, sometimes it's the dog with the pointy ears.
Oh, sure. So what I do is I assume that something, like if you know she's been reactive with dogs, she's been reactive with dogs behind fences, and she's been reactive with people approaching her, right? I just assume it.
Yeah.
So then when I see a dog, regardless of how she's behaving in the moment, if I see a dog, right away I'm already looking at Penny to see, are you triggering at all? Does it make sense? Like, are the ears going up? Is she puffing up her chest? Or the hackles going up? I just assume it. And you just get in the habit of when you see a dog, you look at Penny, and then like as you're getting closer, I just look to see if there's a threshold where she's like, she's fine until the dog is like within, 5 feet. Then I go, okay, that's your threshold, so they can start stepping aside or whatever and doing all that. I talked about that, right?
Yeah, she's her ears always go up. She tends to, when we see a dog, at least when I walk her, she gets really close to me. Like,
Sure.
I see a dog and I'm getting close to you. She doesn't ever try to go for it, lunge towards anything, unless all of a sudden there's a threat.
Sure.
But just like in normal walk around here.
Sure.
You know,
No, she doesn't pull or lunge or do
no,
that.
so
Just
it's,
so that
again, trying to figure out what that trigger is. And then if she's like just starts kind of like really focusing, like sometimes I can just see her just like, we're walking, there's a dog, and she's just like focusing. She's not looking where we're going. I just tap her a little bit to go, Penny,
Right.
we're going to keep walking.
Correct. And I wouldn't say Penny, I would just tap. Okay, because because when you say Penny, you're conditioning her to need the word Penny in order to do it the next thing. When you tap, what happens is, if she starts to deviate because there's something over here, right, and you just tap her, she will start to regulate. And when her brain starts to go into that zone of like, oh, what's over there? She's going to go, oh wait, but I usually get tapped.
Yeah.
And she's going to self-correct with no cue. Okay? So that's why when we do behavior stuff, I think, do I want to control it or do I want to eliminate it? When we want to eliminate behaviors and get the dog to self-regulate, it's just remote, no warning. When we want to control, you need a word or some kind of cue. So like for instance with the front door, to eliminate that, you would just tap her every time she runs to the front door until she's running away from it, right? But instead I said, go in front of her, you're gonna back her off, there's a threshold, right? That's the cue. The cue is when I come over here and I get in front of you, it means thanks for letting me know, but you need to chill out and go over there.
Yeah, because I don't have a word for that, so I'm not supposed to have a word.
No, the cue is the body. Correct. Yeah. So that's how I look at things. So on the walk, if she starts to deviate, I want to eliminate that behavior, and I just tap, and then we should start to see that happen less and less.
So one of the things she also does is, again, not knowing what our house looks like, you walk in our front door, and her little threshold is right here, sitting next to the sofa. There's a threshold. There's a carpet, like it's defined right there. Anytime any one of us comes home, like if I'm sitting watching TV, let's say, and Penny's with me, and Ed comes in, she gets on the sofa, and so the back of the sofa is between her and Ed. It's kind of her thing. She wiggles her butt, she shakes, like that's her, like, but she won't ever greet him until he says, come here. She always greets him with that sofa back between them.
Sure.
And so that's kind of her threshold for everybody now. So
interesting, yeah.
I've had to train her, like if somebody comes to the door, now she jumps on the sofa. I'm like, that's not really what, I mean, it's fine because it's, keeps her separated, but that's not really what I want. I wanted you on the floor.
Sure. Is that sofa, but it's behind the
Yeah, it's,
okay,
yeah.
that's technically okay.
Yeah, okay.
Now, if you wanted to be more specific and say, like, no, I don't want you here or there, then you'd have her leashed up, and when she jumps on the couch, you would just lightly pull and tap till she's on the floor, and just keep correcting that behavior, and eventually she goes, okay, when I get back off, paws on the floor, not on the couch or behind the couch. Yeah, you just have to tap that behavior to let her know that that's not.
And that's, to me, when she goes, we have down, which is down, and so down, which is know, we come up with our own commands.
Sure.
So down is your head on the ground.
Sure, like all the way.
All the way down. So
Sure.
it's down, so down. And so I have to quit saying down
Oh, for that.
for that.
Correct, yeah, because you're trying to eliminate the behavior
Yeah.
of, and then down is, at least is an obedience command.
Yeah.
So if anything, it'd be like you're like off, most likely.
Yeah.
So like, in that sense, you just start tapping with a little bit of leash pressure to guide her. Because if you just tap her without any pressure, she's gonna dig into the couch.
Yeah.
She's gonna sink into
Like
it.
I'm right here and this is my
Yes.
safe spot.
So then we use the leash tension to guide them off. No cue, and eventually she'll learn every time I hop up in this kind of context, I get remoted.
So that's why I guess is she's smart enough to realize the two different contexts. So
Yep.
when Ed or Bella comes home, she's on the sofa and she's wiggling, and they always pet over the sofa, and she usually grabs a bone or a doll and brings it on the sofa and offers it. She always has an offer.
Sure.
But she doesn't do that for strangers.
Sure.
Or anything.
Yep. That's that can. She totally
Riley's
pick up on
coming
that.
over tonight. We can work on that.
Okay.
Hasn't been over.
So what's next?
So the next thing would be trying to make this more realistic. Okay. So because the way we're practicing here is of course not realistic. So I think last week I talked about like practicing with squirrels or rabbits,
Yeah.
any kind of prey, or whatever. But if you don't have that, the next thing that we do is you take the short leash with Penny,
Okay.
and you start walking, right? And in the beginning, what I suggested that you also follow Ed just a little bit behind, and then once you're ready, you're gonna hang back, and Ed's gonna keep walking with Penny, and then you would call her at some point, okay? And you want to give her at least like 15 to 20 feet, 10 to 15 feet of slack,
Okay.
to give yourself space, because ideally you want Penny to turn and start coming back to you without any loose tension. Does that make sense?
So is he going to drop the leash?
Correct.
Okay.
So as Ed's walking with Penny, once you call her, you keep walking but drop the leash, and then you start tapping and coming backwards.
We're going to walk. I'm going to be like 10 feet behind.
And sure, I'll coach you through it, okay? So you're gonna start side by side. So Ed's gonna get the green leash. Okay.
No matter what side I'm on?
No, and you're not gonna say heel or anything like that. You're just gonna walk with Penny, okay? So then